Welcome to the Wed Pro Podcast, the show for wedding professionals and business owners.
Each month, we bring you top industry experts, business chat and hints and tips to grow your business.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Roxy.
Welcome to the Wed Pro Podcast. Welcome to episode 0. This is our first podcast, and for this one we're going to be talking about and just having a chat really, aren't we? All about us really, and how we kind of got into the industry, what we were doing before we got into the industry.
So excited to kind of share our story with you all.
Yeah, it's something that we actually don't really talk about.
We don't.
And when we spoke to one of our speaking engagements, they actually said, oh girls, like you need to share your story a lot more often. So it was something that we thought, right, okay,
we need to get it out there.
We need to get it out there and chat in our first kind of podcast about that. So we're going to take you right the way through to kind of what we were doing prior to being in the industry, why we got ourselves into the wedding industry, what we love about the industry, and then how, like, where we are now and the kind of things that we are doing now inside of the industry for wedding professionals and for wedding businesses. So we're
going to take you way on back to the beginning.
It's exciting, but it's quite a little bit nerve-wracking, isn't it?
Like, going to be telling you kind of our story.
And I always kind of think, especially for me, I have like this detachment, whereas I can be quite confident in business, I'm quite confident at work, and I don't know if anybody listening along kind of feels like this, but I almost have kind of quite a lot of like insecurities and stuff about like my story and sharing my story with guys as well. And it's funny actually, and it's something that I registered a couple of years ago, that actually that seems to be the case. Like in business, I'm quite decisive and I'm very I can just get things done, but actually even talking about my story, I can feel my heartbeat kind of like because
I think I'm probably the same. Like for me, it's just something that
you put your work head on, don't you?
You just don't think about. The more I tend to think about it, the more then like the anxiety starts coming through.
But then we actually do try to profess, don't we? And we do actually try and say people, and think about us when we put our kind of wedding pro helping head on. What do we say to people? Tick off those achievements. Sorry, tell yourself that you've done really well in your business. Look at how far you've come.
Read
and actually,
about how well you've done.
Actually, and I think there is something, I don't know, maybe a bit British about not.
Definitely.
Kind of patting yourself on the back, isn't it? And not
going, hold on, this is where I was.
What I was doing, and this is
look at where I am now.
And starting a business, guys, like you might think, I just run a business, and this word "just" is going to come up quite a lot, I think today, isn't it? I just, which is we kind of play ourselves down a little bit, don't we, when we think about the kind of things we've done. So you'll have to bear with us, guys, because we're going to get really personal with you.
We're going way
but we want you guys to kind of know about our background, about kind of what we're doing now.
Hopefully, it'll inspire, it'll be relatable to you, and we just want you to know that, it doesn't matter where you've come from, you can do anything you want to do. Yeah,
100%. So, right. Shall I go first? I think probably. Okay, so those of you who haven't kind of got to know my voice yet, I'm Katie. So, oh gosh, like we've got to probably go back quite a few years actually. So, how I started in the wedding industry. So, I didn't necessarily when I was growing up want to become a business owner. I kind of wanted to be a teacher actually. Went to university, did the kind of motions of that. Had my first son, and the family situation at home, I stayed at home and looked after my son. I was a stay-at-home mum, and as much as I kind of really loved and enjoyed that role, I always kind of felt in the back of my head, that I did want to kind of go to work. I loved the first kind of 12 months of being at home and being a mum, and then after that I kind of was thinking, I do kind of want to get back into going to work. Yeah, but I couldn't really think about anything. A few people, and I don't know, the mums out there might be able to relate, or those stay-at-home dads might be able to relate, that, people will say, oh, have you thought about starting a business? And you think, oh yeah, like, I've got no business experience. Yeah. What in? And it just kind of floated around in the back of my head, kind of, I want to do something, might have a dabble in this and that. But just kind of say, a bit of a dabble, but nothing really came about it. And then how I kind of got into the wedding industry, probably typically like many people who might be listening, is actually I was getting married, and I found an issue. I stumbled across a problem in the industry, and I stumbled across a problem whilst I was getting married and planning my own wedding that I couldn't fix. So that started like the business seed idea, and I think that married up with the fact that I was at a time in my life where I wanted to go back to work. I didn't want to go back work a 9 till 5. I needed something that worked around my kids and my family. The situation at home was that I needed, I was the primary caregiver, so I needed to be around to pick up the kids from school and that sort of stuff. So a typical 9 to 5 was never going to work.
And I think a lot of stay-at-home, parents kind of feel that as well.
And I suppose a little bit, I did feel a bit trapped in this sort of cycle of like just being a stay-at-home mum or just being a mum. And a lot of confidence issues came with that I didn't really like think about until I started to plan for my business. But just that period of not using your brain in that particular way for those numbers of years, where you're not thinking about other things other things other than what's going on in your home situation.
Definitely.
So like I said, when I was planning my wedding, I kind of came across this little, well, it was quite a big issue actually, that I couldn't find a wedding dress in the budget that I wanted to spend. The only kind of things that we're talking like, let me try and think now, 10 years ago, 9 years ago, the kind of thing, the options available then, and there's much more options now, was that you bought something secondhand off the internet, or there was like one shop that you could kind of go to where the dresses were a little bit more of an affordable price. But, as a bride-to-be, what I did was I went and travelled, got everybody together, said, right, we are going to buy a dress today. I went to one shop. I kind of thought, right, I've got to get a dress here or I'm not. It's not going to happen. Like, this is my budget. I haven't really got much choice. I found a dress that was okay. It was affordable, and I thought I was happy. Like, I thought that
you thought you were
like I looked at it as a very practical way, and actually it was only kind of afterwards that I kind of thought back, and when this business idea came that actually maybe that isn't the way that should be. This is a wedding dress, and it should be more about something really special. Like, when do you get your bridesmaids together and your mum together and you go for like a lovely day out? You should be able to be the centre of attention one, and not that I was that kind of person, but I just thought for other people there's got to be a better way to do this, and that's how I kind of got into the wedding industry.
Did you feel like, when you got your dress, it just ticked those boxes of like, oh, it was in budget?
Yeah, 100%.
It was there on the day.
I literally said that. I was like, is it nice, everyone? They were like, yeah, it's nice, Kate.
Done, thanks, bye.
And that's how it was.
Yeah.
And, it's a funny story. Like, it is a funny story.
Funny story, that.
That actually, when I was buying my dress, the shop was really busy. There was no changing room available. And genuine story was put in the shoe cupboard.
That's
genuinely
crazy.
Like, boobs out, getting changed in the shoe cupboard. You know how it is, because we were in the bridal industry. Getting changed in the shoe cupboard with staff walking through to pick up some shoes for someone to go and try on.
Don't mind me.
My mum, my bridesmaids, my sister were sat perched, and it just was like, it was not special. It just was not special. And that kind of got me thinking, right, okay, like, there's got to be a better way to do this, and there's got to be more options out there for women. Yeah. And that's kind of how my business was born. And actually, it started that I ran it from home, and maybe quite a lot of you wedding businesses out there are the same.
We know that lots of you have got kind of, you work from home, you've got a little home office or a little studio.
Yeah, and well, it wasn't really a home office. I would have, I would kind of advertise across the internet. That's how I kind of first started, social media, got myself a little Facebook page, started to tell people, started to source some dresses, ring some shops, get some stock, and I would invite people into my home, into my son's bedroom. They would get changed in the bathroom, and it wasn't this kind of special experience I wanted, but I was giving them the kind of choice, and that's how I got into the industry. And I wanted to build myself up to the point where we would get a premises, and then obviously had another baby, so then I took a little bit of time off
So
again.
his family life got in the way a little bit.
Yeah, family life got in the way, and then also as well, because I was running it from home and it was a bit of a hobby, and a few of you might think this as well, like, there wasn't the get up to make it work. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like a little bit of extra cash here and there as and when I needed it, or as and when I wanted it, or as and when people kind of said, oh, like, I've heard about you, could you find me a dress like this?
Or maybe like going on a holiday and you
Yeah,
need a bit of extra cash.
But it wasn't like I was taking it full time seriously.
Yeah.
And probably like the change kind of came for me was after I had my second child, little girl, and I kind of thought, right, I do want to go back to work properly now, and you know, the idea of having a shop petrified the absolute life out of me. I'm not going to lie, absolutely petrified me, having all of the like fixed costs that you get with premises, and you know, rates and rent, and what a massive leap. And I'm not going to say it was easy. Like, there was so many points when I was writing my business plan out and I was thinking, like, is this going to work?
Very glad that you did.
Yeah, I did. Can you imagine? That,
No, I wouldn't be here.
So many times I just nearly gave up, and it was actually like the confidence, I think, across, you know, having that confidence and being a mum and just staying at home at mum, and as a stay-at-home mum, you kind of lose a little bit of yourself, I think. And I know that's quite horrible to say, but that's just from my experience, how I felt
as well.
I felt that, you know, there was a lot of self-doubt there at the beginning, a lot of self-doubt, and I had to kind of like put my motivational head on.
I can tell this resonates with me because my heart's like, yes, I feel this too right now.
And
relate.
You know, I just had to kind of go for it, and somebody, you know, on one of my many wobbles, whereas the point of like I'd looked for a premises, then I'd stopped again, then I'd looked for a premises, and then I stopped again, and one of my many wobbles, someone said to me, and I'd kind of said, oh, what if it doesn't work? Like, what if I end up in debt? What if, you know, this thing happens? What if that thing happens? And I kind of was thinking about all the reasons why I shouldn't just go for it. And this person said to me, Katie, it's definitely going to fail, like, if you don't try. And then it was kind of just that sentence really, that was like, oh yeah, like, I should just go for it, because I'm going to regret it. I didn't want to get to a stage in my life where I think, oh, like, I'd have loved to.
Should have just. Yeah.
And then that's how I started to look at it. Like, at least then I can say I gave it a go and I tried, and you know, it's something that I actually was thinking about doing for years, for a long, long time. So yeah, and then that's kind of like where you kind of come in, don't you? So tell people like what you were doing before.
Okay, so I'm gonna take you a little bit further back, probably to like just left school kind of time. So for me, I was a young mum, so I got pregnant at 17, so I had to move out of my mum's house, set up my own house. Very, very, very low confidence actually in that. Like, I was very like meek, very shy, I wouldn't really do anything out of my comfort zone. I'd let my partner do everything, which was fine because he was a bit older than me. He knew what he was doing. I'd never lived on my own before, so I was like, okay, got the house set up, got all the bills, like, sorted out, whatever. And then I just was a stay-at-home mum, and there we go. The just word. I was just a stay-at-home mum.
So did you, when you got pregnant, did you think, right, this is kind of it now, or did you think in the back of your head that you were going to go and get a job at some point down the line, or did you think you were ever going to go back to college or anything like that?
No, was never ever, literally. So
you just live in the moment, don't you?
I just lived in the moment. I'd actually thought there is no way ever that like I'm going to be able to get a job. How am I going to keep that down?
I'm so glad you said that, because I actually felt like that as well. Like, how am I going to keep a job around my children? And then I kind of talked, and I don't know if you did, I kind of talked myself out of going for interviews.
All the time.
Because I think somebody more qualified is going to walk in, somebody that doesn't have children, doesn't have the time restraints. I'm so glad that you said that, because I'm sure lots of other women feel exactly the same as we felt.
I think back then, so we're talking like 13, 14 years ago, maybe like, you know, like flexi hours in the workplace weren't like a massive thing, and I was like, all these jobs I'm looking at are like 9 to 5, which is just not going to happen. You know, the kids finish school at 3. Who's looking after them 2 hours? I'm not putting on anybody. So I was literally a stay-at-home mom, had no thoughts at all about getting into work, because for me it was just ruled out because I had no qualifications really, didn't really try at school. I think that was down to the confidence issues. And that kind of carried me through probably my early 20s. Just kind of coasted along, being just the mum. Had another child, so I had 2 boys at that point. So I had 2 children under the age of 2, which was just crazy.
And that's mental anyway. And I don't think many people are thinking about going back to work when their children are so young, are they? Anyway, and that's, I'm sure lots of women kind of think this, like the same as what we've had, haven't I? Oh, you know, like you kind of go from career person to kind of family person, don't you? Or you know, maybe not so much for you in terms of, but if you'd have gone back to you prior to having children, was your plan ever to have children young and?
So my plan was to be a midwife.
Oh, wow.
So my plan was, okay, I'm going to get the qualifications I need to go to college. And I went to college for 1 day. I don't even know if you know this. I went to college for 1 day.
Wow.
And I was in a room, you know, like 15, 16 students and a teacher. And there was all girls. And I always found throughout like my teen years, I got on with boys a little bit better. I don't know, again, maybe that comes down to the confidence thing. But I sat in that room and I went home and I cried and said, I'm never going back there because I felt so like I wasn't good enough. I wasn't worthy. Like
that self-doubt.
I'm not going to do this. And I never went back.
Wow. And that was before you got pregnant.
Yeah. And then kind of got pregnant that year, I think. And then so then was a stay-at-home mum. And then this kind of ties into Katie and her bridal shop. Saw a little advert on Facebook, and I
Facebook. It's funny though.
It's funny that how
funny.
Like,
so everything runs from
social. What my favourite social media platform?
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
Everything kind of comes back to Facebook.
Yeah, it does. I'd applied for a few jobs previous to that. You know, a couple of supermarkets and things like that. But again, that self-confidence, it just
the thing as well with me was. And, you know, sorry guys, I'm going to keep it real, and, you know, some people might not like me for this, is that I kind of thought, you know, my plan in life prior to having children was not to be a stay-at-home mum, or not to work in a supermarket, or not to work, you know, I'd had plans to go to university, have a degree, got a good education, and, you know, you do get to a point through having low confidence and maybe your routine, and you get cozy in your routine of having kids and stuff, that you think that's all you're then good for, is to go and get those, you know, jobs that no one else kind of wants, just to give you a little bit of money in your pocket, or, you know, just to get you out of the house and get a bit of you back. And I kind of didn't want those kinds of jobs.
Okay.
Yeah, and I kind of was like, oh, you know, if I'm not qualified for kind of anything else. You know, I've been out of the workplace now for kind of 6 years, 5 or 6 years, that if I'm going to have to do something, I'm going to have to create something for myself. And you know, and then luckily we kind of stumbled across you, didn't I?
I think for me, never in a million years, running my own business was never thought about ever.
Never ever.
Sorry. Where's my favourite song?
We're singers. So yeah, like I put a job advert out, didn't I? Because so many things like kind of fall into place, don't it? So just because the type of shop that I'd kind of started to rent out was a multi-level building, and I kind of realised that, spotted the opportunity that if the door was locked, because I was in an appointment selling upstairs, that I needed somebody manning the counter, answering the phone, keeping the door open so that people could kind of come in and inquire. And we'd not even been open, had we, that I put an advert out? No.
That's a story.
We hadn't been open. I put an advert out and I was like, look, I'm looking for somebody part-time hours, was it 1 day a week?
I think it was
just a Saturday, wasn't it?
It was a post that really kind of jumped out to me and appealed to me, because it didn't have like majorly set hours. It felt like you understood about like being a mum, stay-at-home mum, that kind of thing. And I totally got that vibe from it. And I think it was just like starting off 1 day a week with the potential to
kind of increase.
And kind of progress.
And this is really funny actually, because Roxy, like, I think I'd put on there like send a covering letter and a CV. And this is actually what we say now, even when we employ people now, don't we? Send us a covering letter and a CV. And then because social media is so accessible, everybody pings into your inbox, don't they? Like, hi, I'll be interested. Send a covering letter and a CV, please. Yeah. So you were pinging me messages. Oh, like, this is what I've been doing. I was in no, like...
You was...
literally having my smear test.
Yeah, you were, weren't you? I wasn't going to say that, but you just
said so. And my phone was going.
It's nice to know that I was with you at that point. Though, like.
But yeah, like, just, you don't know, guys, when you're contacting people, what they might be doing. So,
Really good.
Yeah,
But for me though, how totally out of character this like stay-at-home mum, got no confidence.
you actually annoyed me.
Would never talk to anyone, and there I am pinging you across a message. But do you know why it was? Because she was so chatty and so nice to me.
I don't think I told you to go away,
no,
did I?
No, you didn't. Like, I would message, you would message back. I would message, you would message back, and I was like, oh, maybe. And this is probably what it was: is that I didn't really talk to anybody.
Yeah, no, I get
So
that. I do get that as well.
That
because,
was annoying you.
yeah, I do get that because when I used to find that I would kind of wait for my partner to come home and just have somebody to talk to.
Blurt it all out, yeah.
Yeah, and not really have other people to kind of chat to in a day. So yeah, like, and then that takes us up to kind of our wedding business, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, like, quite quickly then we had this bridal shop, didn't we? We were getting noticed. Our bridal shop, we did have a USP and we really homed in on the USP, didn't we?
Like, we got it out there.
Which got us some press, didn't it? Which was great. It got us some press, which then meant within kind of 6 months we'd already moved to a bigger premises. You'd then gone from kind of working one day to... Did we then?
I think I started on a Sunday and then went to a Saturday and then...
I think it was 3 months in, wasn't it, that I was like...
And let me tell you, I had no idea about how I was going to sort childcare, whatever, but I didn't care. Like, I found this fire in my belly that was like, hold on a minute, I'm more than just a mum. Like,
yeah,
I've got this down now.
And this is what I wanted to do, and, you know, I totally got that in myself even, that, you know, giving chances to people who, you know, our stories were very similar, weren't they? And I thought, yeah, you know, she's going to work for it because she wants to work.
I wanted it so bad.
I think it was, we opened in the September, and by the January, I was like full-time. Pretty much full-time, weren't you? Yeah. I was like, right, we're just going to have to do it. And then you saying that you didn't know how you were going to do it, I didn't know how I was going to pay you.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, okay, right, I know we're getting busier, but to take somebody on full time, that's a big commitment.
Of course, yeah.
So, you know, I was like, right, we're just going to make it work. And if we're both on the same page that we both want to make it work, we're both going to work. And that kind of like fired us.
And I think I kind of got that as well. I was like, okay, then, like, this is obviously, it's not like a massive like corporation that's taking me on. And I was like, I'm showing my worth. I am grafting.
So we then moved from this little side street shop, didn't we, into a much bigger premises on the high street, and we were starting to get a little bit more press, you know. We also did some kind of work volunteering for the Prince's Trust, didn't we? And the Prince's Trust is something that, you know, has kind of been with our business kind of from the beginning, in terms of that I got some mentorship when I was starting out the shop and working on my business plan, and then I kind of wanted to give back. So we kind of, any opportunity that we could, when I could be out of the shop, and, you know, Roxy was pretty much, we took it to the point where you'd gone from kind of Saturday girl to pretty much, we had a team of 4 girls underneath us, didn't we? Underneath you. You were pretty much in a management role by that point, weren't you?
Which is amazing for, like, my confidence to go from, you know...
And this happened within sort of 12 months, didn't it, for you?
12 months. I've gone from quiet, shy, no confidence, wouldn't say boo to a goose, to, like...
Not only running appointments and, you know...
But, like, managing
in the
staff.
bridal industry as well, it's not just a sale to kind of...
It is
the bride,
difficult.
Is it? You're kind of there with 6, 7. Sometimes, can you remember the person that brought 14 people with?
Yeah, I can.
With them?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
And it's like
14 people.
I had to hold a room of people. It was almost like it's like you have to put on a show.
Yeah,
so
that's
like
it. Like
the Roxy show. Like, I'm the one that has to know everything about every question that anyone's ever going to ask me about bridal wear. Because if you come across as don't know your stuff, then we all know. Like,
and this is how it kind of went, didn't it? I passed that role over to you because as we kind of got bigger, I kind of noticed this point in my business, and I'd kind of decided quite early on that I loved business. So once, you know, I did, you know, I created this job for myself. I created this role for myself where I ran appointments. But then quite early on, I did think, right, I can delegate that, and then I can go and look to be kind of getting the shop busier, and I can do the marketing.
How hard was it for you to pass?
Oh, you know.
Like, to let go of those reins.
You know, like, when we first took on our first kind of Saturday girl, even the stuff of, like, what dresses went in the shop window.
I know.
It was like, I needed it done a specific way. It was like
don't like that mannequin there.
My vision.
Look at that over there.
Yeah, and it would be like my vision, like do it the way I've asked you to do, please, girls. But it does get to a point when you get busier and you had the staff underneath you, I had you on the staff underneath me. Your role then becomes something different. So my role then was like more of the marketing, more of, you know, meetings, all of that sort of stuff kind of comes into it. I was kind of more like office, wasn't I?
Yeah,
admin and all of that sort of stuff.
It did get to the point where you would just sit at the little desk, and it's not that we didn't love you, but you weren't necessarily
the
needed.
face of the business. Yeah, like
it ticked along.
Yeah, and you like you were saying, you were then kind of commanding the shop, commanding the role, and that sort of stuff. We kind of like in the business, that's how we kind of knew our target client was kind of coming.
Yeah. We did a lot of work and a lot of
and I think a lot of people
that.
kind of learn a lot about business just on the job, and that's how we were, weren't we? I mean, I remember going right back to the beginning where we didn't have forms for anything, and we would take orders just by remembering the orders.
I remember when we got that first folder, and it was like,
okay, now we need some systems in place, and this is how we totally learn business, literally from doing it.
Everything we know is self-taught.
There was no processes in place, really, was there? There was literally and growing a business quite quickly from one person to a team of, I want to say 6. There was 6, weren't there?
I mean, we went from one changing room in a little tiny shoebox shop to
4.
a huge shop.
Yeah.
Which was like 4 changing rooms, all running at the same time. Busy shop.
Yeah, and we'd be running groom appointments, bridesmaids appointments, bridal appointments simultaneously.
Seamstress appointments.
We'd have a seamstress working for us
People
as well.
coming
in. Picking up things, collecting things.
Yeah.
It did get really busy, didn't it? But we were learning and growing, and you know, dealing with first complaints, dealing with like all of that sort of stuff, and all the stuff that you kind of have to deal with in your business. You know, finding the next client, all of that sort of stuff. And this is where we kind of really found that, you know, we've got strengths in some things and maybe not so much strength in other stuff, isn't it? And probably starting our social media from scratch, knowing that our ideal client was out there on social media, and that's where we wanted to concentrate our time. Like you said, I had a problem of letting go of things.
Let it go.
Do you remember when I handed you the social media?
Yes, I was just thinking, I was like, I remember the day when you was like, okay, that's yours now.
Yeah, and then...
So I probably took it, I'm trying to think when I took it on. It was 6-8 months in, maybe.
Yeah, and then that for you, really, wasn't it? Like, gone from not really doing anything at home to a Saturday position, to then working full time, to then being like...
I loved it so much.
What did you think when I kind of said to you at the beginning? Were you petrified?
Absolutely terrified about every single thing I was doing, because I don't like to do things wrong at all, and it's not like I did an awful lot wrong.
No, and I don't think you're going to mind telling people, are you? No. Like that, you know, spelling was a thing for you right at the beginning, wasn't it?
Huge thing. Like, I'm not a very good speller. Like, I can read, write, whatever, but spelling, just terrible.
Yeah, and
I think I've learned the more, and this is something you told me, the more you read.
Yeah, and the more that you practice and put it out there, wasn't it? Because I'd kind of give it to you, then I'd go over and check it, change it, let you know, like go back.
And
like,
Roxy, there's a spelling mistake.
But it would annoy you, wouldn't it?
Really.
But it wouldn't annoy you because I told you.
No, it would annoy me because I'm like, oh my gosh, why can't I just get it right?
But
used to kill
me. Yeah, and then we kind of noticed really that we were really smashing our social media front, weren't we?
It. Like, it was like, hold on a minute, we're getting like, we've gone from 0, and our likes were constantly creeping up. We'd get like 30, 40, 50 new likes a week, and then it was a case of looking at what we were doing,
and kind of altering
like,
that and
teaching
changing
ourselves.
And then kind of like our social media opened up some really exciting channels in terms of our business for us, wasn't it? Like, we were invited to International Women's Day to represent, to go and speak for NatWest, and that was kind of came about from being noticed for kind of what we were doing, and noticing about our story, and you know, where we'd come from to kind of the growth of the shop. We got invited to go down the red carpet, didn't we, in London, which was insane. God, we met some like amazing people, didn't we?
Yeah, we've been on
Tom Fletcher and Tom Fletcher's lovely wife. I want to...
I'm so poor with names.
Tom Fletcher's lovely wife, let's say that.
Yeah.
I was literally listening to a podcast
Grimmy,
this morning.
you met Grimmy.
Nick Grimshaw.
Philip Schofield, but I've already met him before then, so...
Oh yeah, I've got a lovely selfie with Schofield
Yeah.
where I'll show you guys for YouTube over here. I'm literally doing this, like, my eyebrows could not be further up into my skull.
So many celebs. We'll have to have a little share of the photos.
But yeah, we got invited to this big award ceremony, didn't we? We got
London Palladium.
Yeah, we got
red carpet.
How that came about, wasn't it? We got nominated for an East Midlands award.
Yeah, like a regional award.
Against other kind of businesses in the East Midlands, and then like we won that, didn't we? The bridal shop won that, and then we were then shortlisted for the top 3 in the country.
Yeah.
Which is how then we got invited down there, and then like we ended up winning it, didn't we? Which was absolutely amazing. Which then meant
I loved our trip to London.
we got like a little Ant and Dec. We got a little smooch with Ant and Dec, didn't we? I got 2 smooches with
Prince
Dec.
Charles, hello.
I didn't smooch Prince Charles.
No. Disclaimer: Katie did not smooch Prince Charles.
But yeah, we did get to meet Prince Charles, and there is
Amazing.
a funny story there because you get
There's always a funny
you
story.
get etiquette training a little tiny bit, but Prince Charles, like, I just found him dead relaxed anyway, which is probably why I did my boo boo. But it was like you get told basically, you know, if you can remember, like it's Sir. You know, we get curtsy training, and do you remember I practiced my curtsy?
I was just having flashbacks
in the shop for weeks before because I was like so obsessed.
Sit down curtsy.
Yeah, so obsessed with kind of getting it right and coming across.
You nailed it in the shop.
I nailed it on stage,
Yeah.
thank you. That's not the bit I messed up at.
No.
But so went over, and I wasn't actually expecting quite a lot of time. Like they were like, and the winner is. I'm talking the Palladium, so there was
The London
3,000 people there, weren't they?
Oh, it was
Weren't there?
so good.
Music, we had Matt Terry singing, we had School of Rock there.
Yes, we did.
It was insane. The winner is Katie Lith. I get up on stage, shake his hand, and then like there's quite a few minutes because then they start calling up the runner-ups.
Yeah. So
Up
you're
on
there.
stage, so I'm there like, oh, it's so
Did you
lovely.
sit with him? Or
No, I just stood up and had a little chat. He passed me my trophy, like we had like a little handshake, and he was like, "Oh, well done, well done." I can't really remember what he said, but I wasn't expecting like this pause. Like there was just an
He's
awkward
like, oh,
pause.
now
So
I'm stood next to royalty right
like
now.
Prince Charles right now, pinch me moment. So all I kept on saying to him was, "It's
so lovely to meet you.
It's so nice to meet you." I must have said that 4 times to him, and then they're like, "Okay." Once the winner then needs to go over to be interviewed by Ant and Dec. This is all being filmed, by the way, and streamed across like social medias, and it's massive, isn't it? Filmed across everywhere.
Makes my heart go.
And I just turn and then think, oh, I haven't said bye to Charles. So I just turn around back to him, pat him, bye, like literally pat him
Are
off.
you allowed to pat a prince?
I don't think I am because that's like when
Was
I came
that
off
in
the.
your etiquette training?
I don't think it was in the etiquette training. Then off I went with Nick Grimshaw, did all the press tour stuff, got my little kiss with Ant and Dec. Went back for a second because I
Pause.
thought,
Who's your favourite Ant or Dec?
I don't like in the moment they're interviewing you like Dec obviously, but in the moment you don't think about
Ant.
that. Like I kind of shook the hand. I'm a like a shaker kisser anyway, so like shook the hand.
Copperfield. No, I'm joking.
Maybe. A kiss on the cheek. And they were like, oh, like first kiss. We'll have to get that little recording. Do you want to kiss the other one? And I was like, yeah, damn right, I do want to kiss the other one.
I remember. Oh
Damn
my
right, when am I
God.
going to get this opportunity again? So went and kissed the other one, so to speak. And then I had my little interview. But in the moment, I'm not stood up there thinking, I'm chatting to Ant and Dec right now.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, there was a video of me going on in the background, wasn't there? There was film crews there. You're looking out, literally 3 tiers of
literally tears,
audience.
isn't it? And there's people everywhere.
You can tell in my voice actually that I was.
It is a little bit like it
Nerves.
breaks a little bit.
There were nerves, weren't there?
only
And I
natural.
just wanted to get all my thank yous in there because obviously, like behind me, I had a team of staff like doing amazing stuff. So I wanted to stand up and like, can I get a woot woot for my 2 girls down there? So, and they pointed at you, didn't
Yeah,
they?
but
like,
hi, I love you.
I'm gonna say Prince Charles didn't invite me to any more stuff, but actually
You
we've
got
had a Christmas cards and we've had a few letters between back and forth, haven't we? And just for some of the work then we've continued to do with the Prince's Trust, haven't we? Like, and you as well, being invited to be an ambassador, which is amazing.
Which is absolutely fantastic. Can't wait. So I'll be going and sharing a little bit, quite a lot about what I spoke about in this podcast.
And kind of
people.
inspiring
young
people. So like the Prince's Trust work with young people, don't they? So kind of get into business.
Very much looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Or educational training, which is like really, that is one of the things that make up us, isn't it? That we're so passionate about helping other mums that might be in a similar situation to us, where I think that they're not good enough to get back into work.
I would hate to think that there's anyone out there that felt like how I felt.
There's so many.
I know,
and it's funny because, you know, I know that there's so many.
I feel really strongly about actually. So we've also done things like
Don't Tell the Bride.
Don't Tell the Bride, which was just, oh my gosh, incredible.
This morning we got interviewed then by The Sun, and this all came apart, like, yes, it was a lot of different pieces that kind of fell together, but predominantly, like, we were sharing all of this information kind of on our social media, weren't we, and getting picked up and noticed for the kind of work we were doing on social media, and that then we kind of noticed that we were kind of good at it. And the other thing that kind of helped us know that we were good at it was that other suppliers that we would kind of meet along the line, wouldn't they, would ask us and tell us all constantly. We'd be at wedding fairs, and yes, we'd be there setting up our wedding fair, but we would be thinking about content for our social media. And it was something, I'm talking now, God, the shop's been shut a while, so we're talking like 6 years ago, 5 years ago, really, that people weren't doing that. They weren't thinking about sharing the kind of behind the scenes of stuff like that. And that's something that we were doing. So we would be setting it up and we'd be going around filming it, or we'd be doing a live video from there. And like the other suppliers were like, oh, like,
what's this?
What are you doing, girls? What are you doing, girls?
Like setting up the table, and I think you got talking to like another supplier just over the way, and I could see you like showing them how to do things, and I could see so many other suppliers like their ears like were
picking up and coming over.
Oh, what's going on?
And kind of like the kind of thing is that, you know, we never professed to be social media experts, did we? We just kind of were grafting in our business and learning from what kind of worked for our industry.
It's like we just got it. It was
but it was in terms of literally the reason we were doing it was to put money in the till. Yeah. To then pay for everything we needed to do in the business. So, you know, that's how it kind of came about, wasn't it? And other people were kind of like, oh, like, what? You're getting this amount of likes, or you're getting this amount of views on your videos. How do we do that too? So we knew there were people out there. And that was kind of the only time we were kind of sharing bits and bobs like that. And we were totally fine to do that, weren't we? Like chatting to people, helping people. That was just all about us.
Like we've always been like chatty girls anyway. To everybody that ever came in the shop, we'd literally chat their arms and legs off.
Yeah, and lots of other businesses would kind of come in and say, oh yeah. Oh, and just naturally, you know, those kind of networking conversations happen anyway, don't they? When they chat about the stuff that they're doing in their business, we chat about the stuff we're doing in our business. They might say something that helped us, we say something that helped them.
It's just how it works,
Just how it works. And we were kind of sharing all of these kind of tips for social media that kind of were like then helping us to kind of grow our pages though and get more news out about us, which, like we said, put kind of money in the till at the end of the day, didn't it? We kind of I got myself to a point in the business, wasn't I, that I'd kind of like done myself out of a job a little bit, because you were kind of running the social media, we had girls running the appointments underneath us, you know. Probably got to the stage where I was like firefighting a little bit, like in terms of, you know, I'd be chasing up orders, or I'd be like dealing with the kind of
you would only get like the admin-y or the, you know, can you chase this order?
Yeah, can you phone that bride? Such and such has happened, or can you speak to that person? Such and such has happened. And I'd started to kind of think, oh, you know, the shop kind of runs quite nicely without me. I need to start thinking about, you know, other things. And I'd always said from the beginning, didn't I? I'd literally said, and I remember it being in the little shop, that I turned around and said, this will be yours one day.
I remember,
that must have been 3 months in, 4 months in.
You don't know how much fear, but amazing, like, happiness that put inside me.
Did you believe me? Or did you just think, yeah?
I was like, I would love nothing more for that to happen, but how
But whatever.
the freaking hell am I going to get to that point?
Yeah, well, I didn't even know I was going to get to that point, but then...
But that's what I like about us, because I think we kind of push ourselves and push ourselves and push ourselves to... I like to better myself, so... And the only way that I'm going to do that, I know, like, with my confidence issues, and they still creep up now, is that I have to constantly give myself a kick up the bum. Always.
Yeah, like, I think everybody does.
Yeah.
Like, I do. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, you know, like... Why can I not just get this simple task done? Like, what is up with me? I think everybody kind of feels like that sometimes in their business, don't they? So we kind of, I kind of had said that to you, didn't I? Like, this will be yours one day.
One day, Roxy.
And it had kind of...
It wasn't in, like, a dramatic way. Don't...
No, it wasn't. There was no music or anything like that. Drum roll, please. It was kind of the moment in the film. It wasn't like
epic moment.
It wasn't like that at all.
No.
But that's kind of what kind of happened, hadn't it? Like, shop was running nicely,
ticking along lovely,
and you know,
I feel like a little bit of a spare part.
I did get to a point that I was like that. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah. It was just kind of how it was. But we did discover that we kind of did have a bit of an issue, which kind of got us into thinking about, you know, the business that we do now, the wedding industry supply network business that we have now, in terms of like all of those suppliers that we said that we were chatting to and kind of helping.
Yeah.
We got to a point where we didn't just have like a little backstreet shop anymore, and
it was a big shop.
It was a shop with not just only customers coming in, but, you know, staff need to be managed and dealt with, and where so and so she's taking too long on a break, or
such a busy little place,
or you know, making sure systems have been followed and all of that sort of stuff. That, you know, and Dad, we only were, didn't we? We were really passionate about flexible hours in terms of getting back mums into work, and we wanted to be the mums that picked our kids up. We were literally smashing out probably an 8-hour day in 6 hours, weren't we?
We literally were. I used to remember like leaving at like 2:30 every day, stressing so much. I've got to get to school.
Yeah,
I'm always the late mum. And there'd always be that bride that just keeps you there extra 10 minutes.
And we're like, we've got to go.
I'm really sorry. Like, I love talking to you, like, but gotta go now.
Yeah, and but we got to the point where people were kind of coming in, and that was the only networking we were doing, weren't we?
Yeah.
And we understood, like, very early on that the professionals are also talking. That's a really great marketing tool. The wedding businesses are chatting to clients that need dresses, like, period, the end. Like, that's what's happening, isn't it? Like, as much as we are chatting to our brides in an appointment, all about, like, what they're doing next in their wedding planning process, what they've already got already.
They were doing the same, weren't they? Like,
they were all doing the same and recommending people, and you know, you do start to kind of get a little black book of recommendations or a box of business cards, because do you remember that box of business cards?
Kate, you've got like 4 boxes of cards
where people would come in and kind of give it. Oh, can I leave some cards for you girls? And we were like, yeah, no problem. But we weren't really doing any kind of active networking, were we? Because nothing was kind of fitting in around.
They would come to us, but we wouldn't.
Because I didn't think there was anywhere to go. Like, the networking, there was nowhere to go. The networking events that we were that I kind of went to were very corporate and businessy. They weren't like the wedding professionals that I kind of wanted to connect with.
Could not get our hands on the people we needed to, and as well, like, the timings for them. You know, like the networking breakfast at 7:30.
It just didn't work.
It's not happening.
Not with like my life, your life. It's not like I could have sent you either, because we both. You're just thinking about the fact, like, if I'd have ever said to you, wouldn't you, Roxy, I needed to go to that networking event for you.
Do you know, I probably would have said yeah and done it, but I would have been like, oh my God.
But that's how I felt going to them. And then when you're there, some of them are quite a corporate feel. They just weren't the right people in the room for me. Like, I could find people businessy sort of issues in my business to kind of deal with, but I couldn't find, you know, the people that I wanted to network with, the wedding professionals, the suppliers, the ones talking to the clients, the ones who, like, from the ground up have perfected a system in their business, or, you know, we all know that we work with a particular type of client. We all know that the market is seasonal, and there weren't people out there that like in that kind of corporate networking industry that
That's
kind
it.
of,
I mean, you might
kind
have
of got
found,
those sorts of issues. Yeah, I could find
like website builder,
that sort of stuff. Yeah, but
SEO blow.
yeah, but there wasn't really anything that was kind of,
You're the more creatives.
yeah, and those people that were also talking to clients in the area that could recommend us and we could recommend them to, unless they were kind of popping their head around the door, and they would pop their head around the door, wouldn't they?
Which was fine. It was nice for us because I suppose I saw that as our way of networking without kind of
Leaving our shop,
even leaving our front door. But the massive problem with that is that does take you away from
your
the
work,
business,
your work, and sometimes it can be 2 hours, can't it?
Yeah,
and
you're
it
like,
just,
oh my
or 3
life,
hours.
it's been like 2 hours, and but then you try and tap along and do the work as they're there, and it's like, oh, it was just disjointed. It wasn't.
And we kind of just left it there, didn't we? Like, I just kind of left it there, like, oh yeah, networking's just not for me. Like, it's just not gonna work with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Quite happy with the channels that we're putting our energy into. Don't worry about networking. It kind of just floated in the back of my head without kind of thinking about it. And then, it was kind of like probably a bit of an experience that we had, kind of last year or the year before now.
Last year, 2019.
2018.
2018. Oh, my life.
We're in 2020. So, yeah, like in 2018, that kind of made me feel like, there are a lot of other businesses out there that feel like the way that I'd kind of been feeling. Like, if I take you back to kind of 2018, I'd kind of, oh my word, we got a team of 6. There is some pressure, like, as much as it kind of might be a motivating story that we're kind of growing our shop quite big, there is pressure that comes with that. There are bills to be paid. There are, like, staffing issues to deal with. There are client issues to deal with. When you're kind of that big and we're putting on 4 simultaneous appointments at once, there's always
logistics of that.
Yeah, there's always some kind of little stress somewhere, wasn't there?
Double booked appointment, or
wrong
colour bridesmaid dresses sent, or just things that will and have happened. Yeah,
that I kind of found myself kind of dealing with. Plus, the pressure of just making sure that the tills keep ringing, that people are kind of coming through the door, that we're selling in appointments. Your role then becomes more like tracking data and all of that sort of stuff, which way back when I first started a bridal shop, did I ever think...
What?
Exactly. Did I ever think I'd be sat, like, analysing,
I always thought you just weren't a form kind of girl.
Yeah, like, and it didn't really... And then just kind of like the pressures of running kind of a business where your role had kind of changed. So like you said, I'd be behind a laptop, working behind my laptop, but kind of poking my head in when I needed to poke my head in, kind of work, getting on with different kind of things.
I think if you look back from where you were, the face of the business, running the appointments, booking you literally have gone from doing everything to just doing probably
the stuff that I could delegate. I delegated out, and I didn't really realise it at the time, but I was kind of like getting quite a bit of anxiety, and I did not notice it at the time whatsoever, but now when I look back, it's so blatantly obvious to me, because I'd do things like I'd be leaving the shop and then I'd kind of like hover in the door for a couple of seconds and think like I just feel like I've forgotten something, or a little bit of an uneasy feeling like leaving, or having to check in 4 or 5 times a day when I was on a day off to check what was going on in the shop, all of that sort of stuff. Like, I was kind of, now I recognise that I was kind of getting separation anxiety, like people would leaving their children, leaving my business, and I
could totally see why that would happen though, because this is something, like you say, you've got to pay the staff, you've got to pay your bills, you've got to put food in the fridge for the kids.
It was hard. Like, it was a hard period, and then as well, like, my situation at home had changed, so like I was now a single parent, and it literally, the book lied with me, and I think that geared up the pressure rank a little bit more. Definitely. It then meant like that I was working my 6-hour day at work, and then thinking, right, like, I've got more bills to pay now, I'm a single parent. I was then iPad out at night time, doing another 2 hours of work, 3 hours of work on an evening, working quite late. And there is always something to do, guys, isn't there? Like, you can always, like, there is always something to do. And then I would kind of feel like I got myself to a position where I was like, right, girls, I'm going to have some weekends off. because I didn't realise that this was happening to me. Like, you might now, I can totally see what's happening, but back then, I don't think any of us kind of realised.
I'm trying to think now. Maybe some of the signs, but I just went with the, oh, you know,
it's a difficult situation at home.
Yeah. I'm having a bit of a difficult time right now, so...
Yeah, and, you know, I started to have some weekends off, and I kind of thought, you know, with the weekends off, that I was kind of... That was relaxing time, that I was kind of relaxing, but I wasn't really, because I was still churning, thinking about work. You would know, because I'd check in, like, hi girls, like, where are we at? Have we hit our sales target yet? Boom, like, even if they'd hit their sales target, we'd always find something to chat about, wouldn't we? So I was kind of like, work all the time. And I kind of like made myself quite poorly, just from kind of not giving myself a break and kind of not realising actually that, you know, it's okay to stop and it's okay to like whack a bit of TV on.
It's so hard, and I know lots of people that are listening can relate, to find that balance of that like work and life, like when to switch off.
Yeah, and I kind of thought like, oh, you know, I need to do it. I don't really have a choice. Like, I need to, because there's no one else here to kind of do it. So like, it wasn't a nice time, like looking back at all. It was like a really difficult time. And then it kind of got me thinking though, didn't it? There's got to be other people in business, in this industry that are feeling those kinds of pressures of being self-employed, and those kinds of pressures of, you know, having some people around you and having a support network around you of people that you can go, do you know what, like, I'm having a struggle with this at the minute. And it might even just be like a marketing issue, or maybe like a particular issue with a supplier in our shop, or a manufacturer, or, you know, a distributor or anything. There was nobody really to go and talk to about any of those things, or what, you know, you know, I'm struggling with this particular aspect, or is there a better way that you can do that? There was just nobody really out there.
And I think as well, maybe there's that little bit of stigma of, you don't want to ask, because does that mean, oh my god, does that mean you're failing because you're asking for help? And I think as well, quite a lot of businesses, I don't know whether this is just one industry or across the board, feel like they keep the cards close to the chest, because in helping somebody, are you giving too much away?
Yeah, 100%. And luckily I did have some really great people around me, and I had a nice team of staff around me as well, and also other people in business that I kind of met along the way. But I wasn't not networking with those people. I still network with those people to this day, but it was that I was taking time out of my business to go and network with them, which would then leave me a 2-hour to-do list to do that I needed to do in the evening. And there was just no break from it. There was just, from the second I got up to the second I went to bed, the kids were thrown in the middle, and it just was not a balance, like you say. Like, looking back now, oh my word, like, I don't know what I was thinking at all. And it kind of, you know, it got quite bad in the September to now. I made myself poorly enough to like need to be in hospital for kind of a good week, rest, recovery, that sort of thing. Like, totally body and mind exhausted. Literally pushed myself to the literal brink of such exhaustion. And then you know, that's the wake up call that God, like, stuff needs to change. So then, you know, in comes, and I always joke about this, in came Netflix into my life, because do you know what? I genuinely had forgotten that Netflix wasn't just for my children, because that's all it ever went on the telly for.
So and hold on, there's some good series on here.
Yeah, like, so Netflix came into my life, like a bit of like stopping, pausing, not working myself so hard, working a bit smarter, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with this way of thinking, is thinking to improve your business, you've got to put more into it and work harder, and work all the hours you can.
I call this hustle pressure. And I was definitely experiencing hustle pressure.
Like, go and read a book a week, go and watch this, go and do that.
Yeah, you're not if your business is not, you know, if your diary is not full, you're not working hard enough. And have you watched telly this week? What are you moaning about? And all of those sorts of things that I was kind of like, I suppose a little bit of me was supposed to feel motivated by them, and a little bit I was trying to be motivated by them. However,
just exhaustion.
It just led to the kind of exhaustion, and this, you know, this kind of story then made me think, right, okay, luckily, like I said, I had a few good people around me, and there was people to talk to, and I had a team of staff. We knew that other people were kind of solopreneurs and the only people in their kind of business, and we wanted to kind of have a space really online, didn't we, where we could bring people together, kind of a network of people online, where we could bring people together to kind of chat out anything, you know, whether it be, does anyone know of a great app that I can make some social media posts on?
Canva!
Yeah, or anything like...
so anything ever that you could ever want to ask about
business, or, you know, your industry, or, you know, how do you juggle business with the kids? And we just wanted to bring together a pool of, like, wedding professionals, so that, you know, we all understand the market, we all understand our client.
That's it, yeah.
To kind of refer business to each other, and also just to get chatting, really.
That's it. I think we wanted to do it in a way that wasn't scary, that was informal.
Like, very like us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, informal,
supportive,
positive, all of those sorts of things.
Yeah,
because we kind of found as well, I don't know if many of you are thinking, like, when we first got into the industry, we found it tough to crack, like tough to get in.
Remember going to the wedding fairs where you'd be like,
no one to speak to you.
Oh my god, like, what am I doing here? No one's talking
to
me.
Luckily for us, we were confident girls, and we would just tell ourselves, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. When we've walked out of this fair with, like, 8 appointments, whatever, like, give us your dirty looks, we don't care, like. And I think there was some stigma a little bit that we felt right at the beginning, because we were an affordable bridal outlet. We did experience some snobbery, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Didn't we? From other businesses
that others have
thought
also experienced that kind of thing.
Yeah,
as well.
of course. Like, if you sit at a particular price point, now that didn't mean that no reflection on our lives or anything that we did. We just knew our client. We knew what our client wanted. Yeah. We got them the dresses that they wanted, and we were doing fine. Thank you very much, weren't we?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, like, we didn't want it to be kind of that environment, didn't we? That kind of toxic environment at all. We wanted it to be
not for that at all.
Super supportive, and this is kind of one of our values, isn't it? That really we want it to be a kind of a sharing place that people can come, get advice, share things that are going on in their business. And that's the other thing as well, isn't it? That sharing those good news stories. Like, who could you tell that really got it?
Yeah.
Like, yes, we'd go home and tell our partner, like, oh, we've done something great at work today.
And then it'd just be okay.
Oh, all right. And I think
not actually. Hold on a minute.
You've built something up from scratch, and that's
so hot,
and that's massive, actually. Or look where you were last month or last week.
It's fine that they didn't get it, because they weren't working in the environment, you know, in the industry that we do. But how nice is it now?
Yeah, to have people that you can go and share those good news stories to, and get that support and encouragement. So we kind of had this idea in February, didn't we? After kind of another time, like, sitting on it for a little while.
I remember you leaving...
I don't even remember.
You leaving me the best answer phone message ever. It was like, Roxy, pick up the phone. Like, I've had this idea.
I don't remember this. I don't even know how it came about.
No, I don't. And I was like, what? Hello? And then that's when it was born.
I don't remember this. You need to find that message.
And she's probably gone. What a shame if I've deleted that. Oh, man.
Well, we didn't know, did we?
No.
We didn't know.
No.
So we kind of was like, right, let's just kind of bring some people together. Let's just like pull people together and see kind of what happens. And within kind of those of you who know us from the Wedding Industry Supply Network, you can go and find us on Facebook and all of that sort of stuff, and we'll give you the kind of tours at the end. But those of you who already know us know that this kind of exploded extremely quickly, like within 4 weeks.
Mental.
And obviously, like, the skills that we built up being inside the industry for so long, and also the social media skills that we were bringing to the table, you know, we were confident in that we could do.
Did you expect it to blow up quite as quickly as it did? I always envisaged that we'd have this big community, but I didn't...
The traction was fast, wasn't it, at the beginning?
That the traction would go as fast.
I think what surprised me was how quick people wanted events. So I know we were at 2,500 members, like, in 3 weeks, which was insane and crazy.
Incredible.
And just showed, like, the industry really needed it, didn't it?
Yeah, that there was a huge call for it.
And there was, and how positive and stuff we were, and we gave people the space to share what they wanted to share. And, you know, helped those newer businesses, and that's something that we're quite passionate about. You know, we don't want people to feel like how we felt at wedding fairs or how we felt at other stages of our business, walking into networking meetings thinking, oh, I've only we
hear that so often as well,
or I've only been in business for a year, so I'm not a proper business person, or I only do this part-time, so I'm not a proper business person, or I've still got a full-time job and I do this as a side hustle or a little bit of a hobby business. I'm not a proper business. Like, we don't have any of that, do we? We're like,
none of that.
It's so positive. You know, we're all different kinds of businesses at all different kind of stages.
In this together. And there's
advice from everybody. Gosh, you know, the enthusiasm that people come with it right at the beginning, tailored with the experience of people that have been at it for years and years. Like, it's a really nice mix, isn't it? And like I said, very quickly, like, people were asking for events, weren't they? Like, within weeks. So we kind of launched the group in February. First events started happening in March, didn't it? At the end of kind of March.
Was it Cheshire?
Yeah, Cheshire,
Sussex,
London.
North London.
So not even in the area that we were kind of based. We were based kind of in the East Midlands, and we kind of found some other people that kind of shared our vision, wanted to kind of take our businesses to kind of those kinds of places. And then from kind of there, we then expanded further and further, kind of up into the point where we're kind of at now. And this being our first episode, we're sure we're going to grow, but we've been kind of, the Wedding Industry Supply Network is now not even a year
old. It's coming up to a year old, kind of.
End of Feb, isn't it? You know, we've got more than kind of 10,000 wedding professionals kind of connected, chatting, talking about their business, sharing ideas and tips, which is amazing. That's probably the best part of it, isn't it? It's probably the stuff that we don't even do that is the best part of it.
I love waking up every single morning and having a little look on, you know, just have a little pop on the group and seeing all the support that's going on, or the sharing of positive things
and the help.
It's amazing.
And it always starts the same way, doesn't it? Like, oh, I'm not sure I'm allowed to post here, or you know, sorry for asking, but
is this okay to post admin or what?
And those kinds of things, posts really resonate like a little bit, because it just shows, doesn't it, that, you know, we do need to be talking more in this industry, and we do need to be sharing. Like, we don't need to feel so alone in business, do we? And this is something that we always totally say, don't we? Hop on our Facebook Lives with us, chat to us, drop in, you know, if you've got an issue, let us know about it. We'll try and help you. We don't profess to know everything about everything at all, do we? I mean, we've got social media covered, TikTok.
Got it down.
And, you know, we can chat to you about motivation and that sort of thing. But, you know, the great thing about our group is that we also bring in, like, professionals, don't we, to come and chat, and amazing
experts
to kind of come and speak and to teach what's going on there. So that, like, we then kind of grew, and now we're kind of in 2 continents, aren't we?
How amazing is that, though?
It's so insane.
It's just within the year, we have over, how many areas do you reckon we've got set up right now?
Like 40?
40 areas, and in
growing.
Australia as well.
Yeah.
Growing all the time. Which is crazy.
And those kinds of things are like where industry, wedding industry people network, and it doesn't have to be scary, does it? We hate that, because we totally get
it, and we understand.
And hopefully from listening to kind of this podcast, you kind of get more about us and more about our story and why we're so kind of passionate about it. But it's like a friendly space that you can sit, talk about your business. We have style shoots arranged from them, don't we? Which
loads
is amazing.
Loads of collaboration and support going on.
Yeah, loads of collaborations.
In your local areas.
And people that you can kind of call up and have a coffee with and go, do you know what? I'm having a really bad day, like, or
what do you do when this has happened, or.
And so many business owners, go through the same sort of stuff, don't they, or feel the same sort of pressures, that it is super important to just be kind of talking and not feeling that you need to. And hopefully by kind of sharing, you know, some of the struggles that we have in business and have had and do have, and, you know, the struggles that we find, like balancing family life with work life and that sort of thing, we're encouraging this talking environment where people don't have to feel kind of sort of how, you know, definitely at points that I felt, and probably at points that you felt, where there's just so much pressure on your shoulders, and it's all on you, and that's kind of like how we didn't want it to be, did we?
No, not at all.
Not at all. So I think that kind of brings us
that kind of sums up Katie and Roxy and what Twizzing is all about.
Yeah, and you know, within the year now, obviously we've got our podcast out. We've got
Excited about this podcast.
We've done a national event, haven't we? Where we brought together hundreds and hundreds of wedding professionals together. Last year we've got a national event this year as well. So there's like exciting stuff happening, isn't it? Across like the board in terms of we left our bridal business. That's something else that we should have said, shouldn't we? It got to the point, didn't it? Like we started this in February. It got to the point in June where we were like, okay, we can't do both.
No, we can't do both.
We were spreading ourselves too thin. And this is what really like this felt right.
This is it. Like
this felt right. And then what was happening?
Sound cheesy. I found my calling.
You found your calling. I think what was kind of happening in the group kind of made that decision for us, didn't it? Like it was so fast paced. People were just asking us for kind of the areas, and we were like, look, it's kind of now or never, isn't it? Like
I think for me as well, personally, work life balance is a lot better now.
100%.
I've got my weekends, you know, those first few weekends when I wasn't at work in the bridal shop, I was like, hello Saturday, and then all my life I've got another day. Is this a Sunday?
That is a good point actually. Yeah, the work life balance now is so much better, isn't it?
That's it, yeah.
You know,
we get to kind of go
and we get to go and help
people and travel to new areas and meet new people. Love it.
And have people wish us happy birthday from the other side of the world. It's crazy and exciting, and you know, all we kind of want to do is have an industry of people talking, sharing information, kind of a business community that just kind of like rocks.
Yeah,
like,
and you do. You guys rock. Thank you so much for kind of supporting us within our first year of Twizzing, because without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this. So that brings us to the end of our first ever episode. We hope you're going to be able to join us next time.
Next time, we've got branding expert and fellow wedding business owner Jenny Cabrielli from the Handmade Sign Company, and she's going to be chatting to us all about everything branding. In the meantime, we'd love you to send us some feedback and leave us those 5-star reviews over on iTunes and Spotify.
You know you want to.
Make sure you're also following us over on Instagram, and if you're not already in our Wedding Professionals group, please pop in and let us know what you've thought. Let us know about you know what you've listened to today, and anything you kind of want to chat to in further detail. We're more than happy to chat to you over in our group, aren't we?
So that's it.
Yeah, we'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.